Coming up on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, we talk a little bit about the visits that are going on now. Troy Brown from Central Michigan commits to Ole Miss via the transfer portal. Chris Kiffin comes back to, home, however you want to put it. And Ole Miss has made several other coaching hires in the offseason. We'll tell you about those. Plus, we will do our perspective series with Tom Vanderford in the later part of the show. Anyway, this is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Thank you.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to the show. My name is Stephen Willis. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can see my Twitter address down there. Click on that. Give me a follow. You can follow us on YouTube. All of that good stuff. But anyway, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell. You'll not only know what the video is, that there's a video, but what the video is. So give that a subscribe, hit the bell. Do me a favor there. So kind of a busy day going on right now. Isaiah Noor is on campus for an official visit. He was kind of an unexpected visitor. He's a wide receiver out of Wyoming. He's committed to Tennessee, but he's not locked into that decision. This is kind of like mid-January signing day coming up. He's not enrolled at this point, and he's not locked into Tennessee. So Ole Miss got him on campus to, give it the old college try, so to speak. Chris Kiffin comes back after being the defensive line coach at the Cleveland Browns. He's going to coach linebackers and be the co-defensive coordinator. And I can't remember his name real quick. Looking at it. Marquel Blackwell signed on to be Kevin Smith's replacement as the running backs coach at Ole Miss. Those are the three things of major news that's going on. But first of all, we want to talk about Troy Brown committing to Ole Miss. He's a linebacker out of Central Michigan. He's made all-conference first team 3 straight years, and it really doesn't matter which FBS conference you're in. If you make 3 first-team all-conference selections, you can play. He is a direct replacement for Chance Campbell. So now you have the direct replacement for Jake Springer and Chance Campbell, and the defense kind of has a chance to be really what it was whenever you factor everything in. I expect Cedric Johnson is going to have a big year, and you're going to see Tawan Malone slide into that defensive line. And you got the 2 big boys in the middle with Katie Hill and Xavier Harris. So I'm really curious about that. But again, an extremely physical player. I mean, you got players that throw their body around. Troy Brown is one of those guys. Now, as you saw from the thumbnail out front, if you're watching the YouTube video, he's got film against LSU. They was able to see what this looks like against that competition, and he obviously stood out to the point where they were willing to take him. So it was like, let's make the jump. Now, for Troy Brown, this is a chance for 13, 14 games of film to get him ready for the National Football League. That's really what it's about for him. He's done the 3 straight years, first team all-conference. Now he wants to go in with the big boys in the SEC and kind of prove himself. Now, he's an athletic dude. He really is, and he's a physical dude. And you can actually see the similarities between him and Chance Campbell. Now, I want to see who slots in next to him. For every Chance Campbell, there needs to be a Mark Robinson. Is it going to be a Shanti Sistrom? Is it going to be Jack Brown? Is it going to be Austin Keys? I'm really curious to see what that linebacker position looks like. Is it going to be Jaron Willis as a true freshman? We'll see, because you're looking at a team that grew in the 3-2-6 over the course of the year. That defense is going nowhere, by the way, people. There might be some NFL ideas that Chris Kiffin brings in. Chris Kiffin is not going to be the be-all, end-all when it comes to defense. They're going to keep it similar to what they were doing last year, and that is just because this matches their personnel. 6 defensive backs on the field at one time. They can find these guys, and the transfer portal helps them out. So I'm really curious to see exactly how Troy Brown fits in this defense. This is a big pickup, people. Everybody's going to look at it and he's like, oh, he's just a 3-star. He's played at a G5. No, this is a big pickup, especially at linebacker. And whenever you mix him with the Akeem Youngs, and you have Tysheem Johnson, and you have Otis Reese, and you have Davison Igbenegbu, those guys in the defensive backfield, along with the plethora of DBs they signed last year, this could be a fairly special unit defensively. It's amazing that we're talking like that, because when you talk about really special units defensively with the Ole Miss defense, just 6 months ago we were talking about, well, if Ole Miss can just finish 90th in the country, I'll be okay. Think about that. Now, I went out on a limb and said Ole Miss would finish about halfway nationally. Actually, Ole Miss outperformed that, and Ole Miss won 10 games because of it. Now you have a chance to take that to the next level with people like Akeem Young, who has played this defense for more than anybody else on the Ole Miss's campus has played this defense. This is something that he knows. This is why he was brought in. And I expect him to be the box safety. I expect Tysheem Young to be a box safety. And then you got those linebackers back there. Because if you count those, that's the thing people don't realize with this defense. When you count those 2 box safeties, Akeem Young and Tysheem Johnson, and the 2 linebackers and the 3 line, it's a 3-4 defense. All of this is 3-4 principle stuff. People freak out because of it's a 3-2-6. All it is a 3-4 with undersized outside backers. That's all this is, and it's designed because of spread offenses and people were picking on those outside backers. Ole Miss made a living and beat Alabama in 2014 and 2015 because they could pick on the outside backers and the strong safety when people were too big for what they needed to have. But Troy Brown, very impressed with that. Isaiah Noor from Wyoming, like I said, a surprise visitor on campus today. I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but he's here. And the single cardinal rule when it comes to recruiting is follow the visits. If you get them on campus, you have a chance. It doesn't matter if you're here, you're Mississippi Valley, you're UCLA, you're Notre Dame. If you get them on campus, you have a shot. He's on campus. He committed to Tennessee without visiting. That's kind of a key thing. He didn't take this opportunity to officially visit Tennessee. So I think Ole Miss has a shot here if you think about everything that is going on. And I'm really curious. And you've got the big visits. Jackson Dart is due here Saturday, tomorrow. And same goes for Michael Trigg. And all of these official visits are starting to add up. Now, everybody was making a big deal about Lane Kiffin going to the Bahamas and everything. And the last 20 months, if it didn't teach you anything else, if you didn't learn anything else from the last 20 months, it's that you don't need a brick and mortar office to work. If there's no visits allowed, you want people to meet you, that's a place where you can congregate. If that is not an option, it doesn't matter if he's making those phone calls from the Bahamas, from Oxford, Mississippi, from Minneapolis, Minnesota, from Los Angeles, California. It doesn't matter. If you understand what's going on, he's obviously done a lot of work, especially getting Isaiah Noor on campus to see the University of Mississippi. So that is a pretty cool thing. Hey, Ole Miss fans, this is Stephen Willis with an incredible app everyone who buys needs gas needs to know about. Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Use promo code SCORE and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon in your first fill up. That's 50 cents per gallon cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free and use promo code SCORE to get up to 50% per gallon cash back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot are making as much as $200 or $300 a month in cash back, and there's no catch. The cash back gets added to your account. You can add cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, a gift card, Amazon, or other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code SCORE to get up to 50% cash back on your first tank. That's code SCORE. Sounds like a good deal. All right, BetOnline has you covered all season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march to the playoffs. BetOnline remains your number one spot for sports action all this season. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2021. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell, tell your friends, do whatever you need to do, like it, retweet it. Whatever needs to happen happens. We want to spread this as far as we can. We thank you for the large bump in listens that we've gotten in the week and a half since we got YouTube. The number of subscribers and everything, thank you very much. We couldn't do this without you. Marquel Blackwell was hired as running back coach. It's not official yet, but he's going to get hired. Matt Zenitz at On3 is reporting that. And Chris Kiffin is expected to coach linebackers at Ole Miss and be the co-defensive coordinator. Now, this is something people need to understand. When you have a co-title, co-offensive coordinator, co-defensive coordinator, Nick Saban is really big on doing this because he has a way that he wants to play, like a set of principles. There can be slight variations here and slight variations there, but the overall principles is how it's going to look. The same thing is being instituted at Ole Miss, and those principles are on the defensive side of the ball. He likes the 3-2-6, and because of that, he taught DJ Durkin. He let him call the defense and do whatever he did. He had Chris Partridge as the co-defensive coordinator. Now, the reason you have that co-set up is whenever the one leaves, you can promote directly up. And then you hire somebody else to be the second co, and they can completely entrench themselves on the defense. And then when Chris Partridge leaves, Chris Kiffin moves in that position. And it's a never-ending cycle. That's how you handle turnover at this level. And Ole Miss is actually building itself to do that. Now, they have analysts they have to replace and a whole bunch of good stuff. But it's going to be quite interesting. A running backs coach named Marquel Blackwell, he used to be the running backs coach at Florida. He has ties to Houston, so Florida and Texas ties. It actually, really works. He coached Kareem Hunt at Toledo. He was his college coach, and so he has an NFL pedigree with his coaching. So I think it's a good hire. I haven't heard about how well he does on the recruiting trail. We'll have to see what that looks like. But all in all, I think that this is an excellent hire. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this progresses. Now, you know how it is. I concentrate on what's at Ole Miss, and whenever somebody or some coach or some player or whatever leaves Ole Miss, I don't really pay attention to them anymore. That's just the way I am. I detach. I'm not about collecting athletes as friends. I'm not about collecting coaches as friends. There's some people that do that. They need to feel important because they have the ear of somebody and they might know something. And there's people that are like that. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So don't hear that. But that's not what we do here, because we don't play the telephone game. As we've told you, we don't do all this rumors and everything, because the way it's set up is all negative. It's designed for you fretting about a hypothetical loss, and I just don't like that at all. But these coaches and everything, as Lane Kiffin has shown, he has a propensity to hire coaches. He's also a notoriously slow hirer. So these hires have been in process for a long time. These aren't rash. These aren't just run-of-the-mill. These coaches, you knew they were going to leave. He knew they were going to leave, and he made steps to replace them almost immediately, which is interesting. With as much as Oxford talks and what's going on, there might be some things said, might be some rumors, but they do a miraculous job of keeping things under wraps. And like I said, going back, one of my theories, and I will die on the hill, is that a rift developed between Lane Kiffin and Wilson Love. They won't admit it publicly, but twice this season, if you count the spring game, a whole position group was out with majority muscle injuries, and that's a strength coach's job. I don't think that can happen twice in a year and not affect things. So that will be interesting to see. Now, coming up after the break, we have Tom Vanderfield. He's going to talk about Ole Miss football and his perspective on what he sees happening this weekend, the coaching hires, the football program. Heck, we might talk about the basketball program, the baseball program. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to talking to Tom all about Ole Miss. And we've gone over the transfer. Let's see, Isaiah Noor, the coaches. Yeah, we're all caught up then. So we're going to talk about the perspectives, get out of here for the day, and you guys enjoy your weekend. Take care. Hey everyone, it's the new year, and that means New Year's resolutions. If yours is about getting fit, eating healthier, make sure to include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar makes it easier to stick to your resolution because it tastes so good. You'll want to eat it, unlike other protein bars, which can be chalky or waxy or taste like a chemical spill. You want to eat healthy, but it just gets so boring. So by week 3, you're thinking, this is just not worth it. Where's the chocolate? Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. So here's an idea for the new year. Go to all your secret treat stashes at home, in the pantry, at the office, in the car, wherever. Throw out all the sugary or calorie-filled treats and replace them with Built Bars. So when you're craving a snack or treat, or you can reach for something that's really healthy and tastes incredible. So go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off at Built.com. Again, go to Built.com, use promo code, and get 15% off your order. The promo code is LOCKED15 at Built.com. We continue with our perspective section of the podcast. Tom Vanderford is in here just like he was last week, just to get his perspective on what's going on with Ole Miss football. Just before I came in on this show, I saw that Henry Parrish entered the portal. So that news happened. You got Chris Kiffin and a running back coach hired today. And yesterday, I can't remember his name, the linebacker from Central Michigan. I just talked about him on this show.
Brown.
Yeah, something like that. But good player. Seriously, good player. I just have trouble with names from time to time. So what do you think, Tom? Kind of a busy day in Ole Miss football.
I tell you, I love the Chris Kiffin hire. I think that's wonderful. I'm not good with names sometimes either, but I read the bio on the running backs coach, and he's good. Troy Brown was the linebacker we picked up from Central Michigan yesterday, and the kid was all conference 3 years in a row. So, and he's in a position of need. One thing I've noticed, with the receiver from Wyoming and the linebacker from Central Michigan, we're not afraid to go out there to these non-traditional schools and find people that can play in the SEC. I credit that to Patridge and Kiffin and the rest of the guys.
Yeah, I think so as well. Troy Brown, like I said, I forgot that name. Anytime you win all conference first team 3 years in a row, it doesn't matter which league you're in, you're a ball player.
Exactly. And it's a position of need with Chance Campbell, leaving, and, Robinson, running out of eligibility. So,
Yeah, and I was looking at it on the roster and everything, and I was counting years with Otis Reese, trying to see if he had a red shirt, and I didn't see a red shirt. So the NCAA dragging their feet on his transfer for immediate eligibility. He was able to take he was probably able to take that red shirt because he only played in 3 games in 2020. So
I hope he comes back.
Yeah, I think he's back. I mean, everybody else we've seen stuff come through. I imagine he is fairly set, but him and Tysheem Johnson and Isheem Young and even Davison Abungs, I can't pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
It's impressive. This defense has a chance to really improve going into next season to at the beginning where it would have probably be the strength of the team.
I think so. I just I'm happy with everything so far. I just waiting to see. The thing that I enjoy the most is not knowing. You know, you and me know as much as Ben and all those other folks.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely nothing.
It's really cool. Yeah, because the telephone game is only good if the person you're getting your information from is close to the center of the information. Because once it gets to fourth or fifth hand, the information is just useless. They're wrong like 9 times out of 10. I mean, it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, you think of all the quarterbacks that were supposedly coming, and I feel sorry for a lot of the fan base. I've got a real good friend of mine on Facebook or on Twitter, and you may follow her too. She's getting upset with all these people entering the portal, but there's only a few that have hurt me, personally. Parrish kind of stings a little bit, but hey, that's life. But for the most part, we haven't really lost anybody that's going to kill us next year by them entering the portal.
Yeah, and what people need to realize about the portal is we had a numbers crunch this year. Like in a normal year, if we were just going to sign our normal class, it would only have been 17 or 18 players to get to that 85. And the rest of these players, we had to get down below it, but we also wanted to get down below it enough to where we could sign 32. So that's the reason so many people are leaving, just because we need to turn over the roster. And I don't think people understand that. I think people are so set in their ways and how they follow recruiting. This is just foreign to them.
Right. Exactly. I've got, we all work with fan bases different than ours. And I'm in engineering, so I have a lot of state people I work with. And a guy's telling me, yeah, you didn't have a very good recruiting class. I said, well, if you tie in our portal people, we're doing really good. And if we get Dart and Trigg, man, we could be top 10,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And from what I hear, the rumors that are people bouncing around is like everybody's like worried about Oklahoma, but they're asking him to redshirt so he can sit behind Dylan DeGabriel and Common Smith. It's like that doesn't pass the smell test at all.
Nope.
And then it's like worry about TCU, and there's like they're saying, well, TCU's not really in it, and like they kept reporting and everything, and like it might just be that the visit needs to go all right, which 90% of visits go all right. To close this deal. That's the way they make it sound. Now, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And these things are all fluid, and he could decide today that he's going to spend this weekend at BYU. That's a legit possibility. But it's interesting to see. But with the rumors, the way they set, it sounds like if they nail the visit, they're going to get him, because it sounds like Trigg's an Ole Miss guy anyway.
Yeah. Well, John David Baker, recruited Trigg to USC, and that I think that bodes well for us. And hopefully Trigg and Dart are buddies. So.
They're roommates.
Oh, that's wonderful! Wonderful news.
Yeah, they're roommates, and Jackson Dart is the guy, the singular transfer. Now that we have Zach Evans, that has the ability to influence our record the most. Yeah, if you look at the 5-star. Yeah, and it's not that saying that he's definitely going to beat out Luke Altmaier. Don't even hear that. But he does have 6 games worth of experience. He has more time on the field. That'll help him in those early games. And by the time the harder games get here towards the end of the season, he would have essentially a year under his belt and would look like a completely different guy. Luke, on the other hand, God bless him, all the talent in the world, and the Sugar Bowl was great. At 6 games, he's going to be at 6 games.
Exactly.
And that's the situation going on. You need competition for that position in spring ball regardless. It doesn't matter if Dart's here. You're not just going to coronate him just like you weren't going to coronate Altmaier. And, it'll help us. It'll make the spring game worth watching, I'll tell you that. Jackson Dart, Zach Evans, maybe Isaiah Noor. And if him, are you still recruiting Deion Smith? if that guy flips. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. Yeah. I mean, there's a chance.
And see, that's what I love about Kiffin and his staff. They have a good plan A, plan B, and plan C. You know, sometimes in the past, you know, Hugh would have an awesome plan A, but then his plan B would be horrible.
No, it was a plan F. Sean Curtis. Sean Curtis, right there, boom.
Perfect example. Yeah. And passing on Jannard Avery.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, Hugh Freeze went all in on Mike Juarez. Thought he was going to get Miko Juarez. Did not get Mike Juarez and ended up getting a guy from South Florida that might or may not have had a Michigan State offer, but that's about all that we could find. And needless to say, he did not play very much. But I'm kind of impressed with what's going on, with what Lane's doing. Lane obviously has a plan. With these coaching hires, he's a notoriously slow hire, which means he talked these people into staying late. These deals were done weeks ago, with the exception of Chris Kidd. He knew what he was going to do because as quick as he's turned over, this was already in the works.
Exactly. I already saw some kind of release where it said Kiffin would be co-defensive coordinator with defensive coordinator Chris Partridge. So they've had all this planned. You know, now who knows how it's going to work. My assumption is Chris will also concentrate on the DL, and they may move our DL coach back to linebacker.
No, Chris is going to linebacker.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, they're going to leave Randall Joyner where he is. But the way these with the way these co-titles go, you have a defensive coordinator that's your primary, and you have a co-DC. Yeah. The idea of the co-DC is when the DC leaves, the co-DC slides up, and you rehire for that co to learn your system. So the coaches have experience with what you're doing by the time they move up. It's all about continuity. It's all about getting everything in place. And I'm personally fairly impressed with the defense, the job they did over the last year, and all of those guys are back. You're replacing DJ Durkin with Chris Kiffin.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you know, the meat of everybody's back. We lost the two linebackers. We lost Springer, which those are a big deal. But I think we're good. I think we've got depth. I think we're covered, and we've lost Big Sam, but I think we're going to be okay at defensive end too. So, you can't forget we got a guy that got nominated for National Special Teams Player of the Year, Shanti Sistrom. Been playing since he was a true freshman. You know, he'll be a COVID junior next year. And you know, when the other guys went down, he led the team in tackles against Louisville, and then he had the big game against A&M.
Yeah, and it's very important to know that Shanti Sistrom allows Ole Miss to go to a 3-3-5 when they need to. When they play heavy running teams like Texas A&M, he was able to come in and play that nickel role, and the defense became a 3-3-5 because he's versatile enough in pass coverage and can do a little bit of everything. So I would look for him to slot in behind Troy Brown. You could see somebody like Austin Keys or maybe Jack Brown. It could be the Brown boys at linebacker.
Yeah, it could be.
Defensive line, I think Sam, everybody's going to talk about he can't be replaced, but I think Tawan Malone is going to slot right into that position. And
is Brandon Mack going to be a defensive end? Because he's a hoss.
He's going to play that same role as well, just like him and Damon Clowney and Cedric Johnson, those guys.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to get into race cars, and you'll probably see some stuff next year where Tawan Malone is lined up at nose with two of the race car ends on the outside and passing downs, something like that. So it should be pretty interesting. But Tom, man, thank you very much for coming by. Look forward to next week talking about you. Everybody else, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We will continue the visits and talk about what's going on. Now make the second listen Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you again, Tom. And this coming Monday, first listen, get ready for us. We'll tell you about the visits. Take care. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.